Welcome to the second public meeting for the Hoosick Road Corridor Study, and thank you for your interest in this study. We're pleased to be partnering with Capital Region Transportation Council, who provided funding and support for this study, and with a consultant team led by Creighton Manning Engineering. This study was initiated because of our concerns about traffic congestion and safety along the Hoosick Road in the town of Brunswick, and the transportation system as a whole in terms of accommodations for other uses, such as pedestrians and bicyclists. Now, the purpose of this meeting is to receive your comments on the draft report and the study recommendations. This is a planning study, and your input will be considered and documented in the final report. There are a number of ways to provide your input, so please watch the entire video, read the draft report, and complete the survey questions. Tell us what you like and what you don't like about the draft recommendations and what should be different. Use the project's email and the website. Again, thank you for your participation and your interest that we all share in making the Hoosick Road Corridor a better facility for all users. At this point, I'd like to hand things off to Sandy Misowitz, our Executive Director of the Capital Regional Transportation Council, to say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Supervisor Harrington, and welcome to the second online public workshop for the Hoosick Road Corridor Study. I'm Sandy Misowitz, the Executive Director of the Capital Region Transportation Council. We are a regional transportation planning organization serving the Capital Region counties of Albany, Rensselaer, Saratoga, and Schenectady. We work with the state of New York, our local government partners, regional planning organizations, and many others to administer federal funding for transportation plans and capital projects. Through our community and transportation linkage planning program, we're pleased to provide funding and support for studies such as this. The Hoosick Road Corridor Study began about a year ago, and since then, the project team has been hard at work developing draft concepts for transportation improvements to address the traffic and safety challenges being experienced on Route 7. The draft concept report is ready, and we want to hear from you. We received over 1,000 comments during the earlier phases of this study, and we know how important Route 7 is to you, so we want to ensure that we're working toward the best possible outcome for all concerned. So please watch this workshop video and complete the survey at the end so that your voice can be heard. Once you're finished, you can also take a moment to view the project website at hoosickroadstudy.com for more information. Thank you again, and at this time, I will introduce Jesse Vogel from Creighton Manning Engineering, who will present an overview of the draft conceptual improvements being considered for this corridor. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you everyone for joining us for the second online public workshop for the Hoosick Road Corridor Study. My name is Jesse Vogel. I'm a senior planner with Creighton Manning, and I'll be walking you through some of the analysis and draft recommendations. Just to give everyone a reminder, this is our study area shown on the right in the yellow circle. It is Hoosick Road in the town of Brunswick. You can see here at the regional level on the east side of the Hudson River, Route 7, which also connects to the Northway. And then here we have a more zoomed in version of the corridor. You can see the blue line representing the Hoosick Road corridor, as well as the 6 traffic signals shown in yellow. And then also looking at the adjacent neighborhoods shown within that red boundary. Relative to the project, we started in fall of 2022, took a look at existing conditions and also did some forecasting for future needs. We had a first round of public involvement where we received over 1,000 comments, which helped inform some of the draft recommendations. And now we're in this fourth step here where we're looking for your input. And that'll all feed into updating the draft report and issuing a final report later on this year. Just to remind everyone, here's the draft study purpose shown on the screen. The purpose of this transportation planning study is to develop recommendations to reduce traffic congestion, improve safety, and improve multimodal mobility on Hoosick Road from Lake Avenue to Sweet Milk Creek Road in the town of Brunswick. Wanted to start by recapping those over 1,000 comments that we received during the first online public workshop. Just a quick breakdown of demographics. Over 60% of the responses were from town residents, and another 30% were from Troy. So we feel that we got a good representation of users of the corridor. 95% of the respondents identified as white, and they identified a good mix of trip purposes, using the corridor for shopping, using the corridor for commuting, as well as other uses. You can see on the graph to the right that the primary focus was on reducing congestion. Also improving safety and quality of life in the neighborhoods were the following priorities. When asked relative to congestion, what should be prioritized, identified focusing on mainline Hoosick Road, meaning that they don't like to sit in traffic on Hoosick Road. We also had some open-ended comments from the survey that are summarized here on the screen. Top priorities were concern over future development that would lead to increased traffic congestion. A lot of people noted that they avoid the area. And then there were some location-specific comments, such as the merge just east of Lake Avenue. We also gave people the opportunity to provide comments on a map. We received over 90 geolocated comments that are shown on the right. And you can see that the majority of them are clustered between Lake Avenue and Lord Avenue, which are located on the western end of the corridor. And most of these comments were related to congestion or safety concerns. In addition to the online workshop, we held a pop-up event at the Price Chopper in the corridor. Here you can see some of the comments that were received, including signal at Lord Avenue, which causes significant congestion, support for roadway widening and roundabout concepts, that the congestion lasts all day long, not just during the typical commuter peaks, and that there's also some location-specific issues that affect the neighborhoods, including site distance at Arming Hall Drive. So all of that together supports the needs summary that was identified through the existing and future conditions analysis. Just a reminder that when we did the future needs analysis, we took a look at 2045 traffic forecasts that included both background growth from the regional travel demand model, as well as known retail and residential developments, including the Chick-fil-A on Route 7 that's currently under consideration. All of that information helped us to develop the improvement concepts that are categorized here and include roadway widening, intersection-specific improvements, traffic signal timing adjustments, transit considerations such as bus stop placement and design, as well as road and path connections and some access management and land use policy considerations. Starting with roadway widening, it's important to note that roadway widening was previously studied by DOT and found to be not feasible. The previous study identified over 170 property impacts with 27 structures impacted. Again, at this time, roadway widening is not consistent with state DOT or regional funding policy, which has adopted a preservation first standpoint, meaning that roadway maintenance is the priority due to the funding limitations. Also, it's important to note that roadway widening typically reduces an induced travel demand. As the roadway gets widened, capacity increases, which leads to further development further out. That increases the amount of traffic, which then takes up the new capacity, and you're left right back where you started. And therefore, full roadway widening is not recommended at this time. In addition to the full roadway widening concept, we took a look at a reduced widening concept, which we call the 112, which would maintain a single lane westbound, center turn lane, and increase to 2 lanes eastbound to match the existing cross section east of Roosevelt Avenue. This will also include a wide side path on the south side. Again, this was also found to have some property impacts, which we can see here. One that's notable is a retaining wall here that would be impacted. Likewise, we also have some houses that are very close up to the roadway that would be impacted, as well as some grading issues on side streets that would need to be followed both here and at Lord Avenue. And due to these challenges, we don't consider roadway widening feasible. However, that doesn't mean that there's nothing that can be done about traffic congestion in the corridor. We wanted to take a look at specific intersections that we saw as operating poorly to see if there were any opportunities to increase capacity and to reduce congestion. You can see the 4 intersections that we developed concepts for here, and they include Lord Avenue, Roosevelt Avenue, and as well as Grange Road. At Lord Avenue, one of the concepts that we looked about was a roundabout. Here you can see the traffic analysis shows that a roundabout with 2 lanes on Hoosick Road and a single lane on the side streets would result in a significant decrease in traffic delay. It's important to note that this roundabout would have some private property impacts as shown on the image to the right. It would also include changes to the recently reconstructed Lord Avenue intersection, potential impacts to drainage on the new Hannaford site, as well as the private properties, and therefore would need to be studied further for feasibility. Moving east to Roosevelt Avenue, a roadway widening here could be done to increase capacity. You can see that just east of the intersection, Hoosick Road, which starts as a single lane, widens out to 2 lanes. The concept here proposes to maintain 2 through lanes through the Roosevelt Avenue intersection eastbound. And you can see that that would increase capacity there. It's noted that the town also has already secured the right-of-way for this improvement. So this is a likely feasible improvement. Lastly, another roundabout was reviewed at Grange Road. That would be in the vicinity of the Stewarts. You can see here the traffic analysis on the left showing that a roundabout would result in about a 2/3 reduction in traffic delay. And a 5-lane roundabout could improve access to the church on the south side as well. In addition to those single intersection improvements, we also took a look at traffic signals throughout the corridor for both coordination and adaptive traffic signal control. Traffic signal coordination is one method of improving progression through the corridor, where the traffic signals all operate off of a standardized timed clock that synchronizes when green phases can come up to help maintain progression. Alternatively to that, adaptive traffic signal control includes communications between each of the signals and a server in order to track traffic in real time through the corridor to adjust the traffic signal timing to respond to demand in real time. These bar graphs here show the analysis of the traffic signal timings, starting with the blue graph in 2023 existing conditions. The yellow shows what a no build condition would be in 2025. So that includes some of the background growth as well as the anticipated traffic from the known developments, including the Chick-fil-A. The orange line then represents the overall travel time through the corridor under traffic signal coordination improvements and shows that coordination has the potential to reduce delay roughly to about existing conditions, if not slightly better. Likewise, the green line shows the adaptive traffic signal control travel time and shows that adaptive control has the ability to also reduce delay to similar to existing conditions, similar to coordination. So both traffic signal coordination and adaptive control have the ability to increase capacity through the corridor and reduce some of the congestion that would be increased under future development scenarios. One of the things that we also heard for the Hoosick Road corridor is that buses could potentially be contributing to congestion as they stop in the lane. Here you can see the existing bus stops mapped in the corridor, and we're proposing several stop removals at mid-block locations in order to improve bus stop spacing, as well as one potential stop relocation that would move buses out of a single lane into queue jump. Here you can see a bit more detail. Starting at the Lord Avenue intersection, if the roundabout's not constructed, there's the potential to widen to the south side so that buses can pull out of the lane prior to the signal, load and unload passengers, and then receive a special phase to be able to pull back into traffic ahead of the traffic queue, which would be both a transit improvement and also a general traffic improvement because they would not be stopping in the lane. Likewise, due to ridership and stop spacing, it's recommended to remove the stops in the area of the Plum Blossom. And then also at Roosevelt Avenue, relocating the stop that's currently on the east side to the west side and adding a similar queue jump treatment. This would be very similar to what currently exists on Central Avenue in the area of New Carner Road, where buses stop in the right turn lane and again get that special signal phase to re-enter traffic. Other concepts that the study examined were roadway connections. You can see shown in blue are some of the recommendations from previous studies to increase road connections that we think are worth keeping under consideration. Likewise, the yellow lines are new connections that could be considered to help improve connectivity between the neighborhoods and Hoosick Road. These include connections between Lake Avenue and Riccardi Lane, as well as between Hoosick Road and Brunswick Road, so New York 7 and Route 2. And then also Brunswick Drive and Betts Road, depending on potential future developments. These roadway connections were modeled using the regional travel demand model, which showed that there is existing demand for these local connections. The roads would likely have similar character to the existing neighborhood streets and provide benefits to the local neighborhoods by reducing the need to travel onto Hoosick Road. So a minor reduction in traffic on Hoosick Road, benefit to neighborhoods by being able to access destinations without needing to sit on Hoosick Road, and also improved connectivity for emergency response. Similarly to the road connections, pedestrian connections were also considered. There are a number of apartment complexes on the south side of Hoosick Road that currently don't have access via a sidewalk. And providing sidewalks for these residents could help improve connectivity and walking, which would potentially eliminate single occupant vehicles and provide alternatives to driving. Lastly, on the policy side, access management is something that could be considered. Access management has the potential to reduce the amount of friction in the corridor by limiting driveways, considering some restrictions at driveways, meaning right in, right out turn restrictions, reducing the existing driveway density and creating shared access. Likewise, some land use regulations could be implemented to promote mixed use development, which allows people to walk between uses rather than needing to drive, and promote pedestrian-friendly design standards. And an example of that is shown on the right. This is Route 9 in Loudonville. You can see that the buildings are placed closer to the corridor. There's cross access and parking behind the buildings, and these uses share access at a new traffic signal. Within the neighborhoods, we wanted to look at traffic calming so that the traffic that behaves in the neighborhood behaves similar to the surroundings. Here you can see going left to right, speed humps are an effective measure at calming traffic. Likewise, a chicane, which is a shift in traffic from one side of the street to the other, introduces these curves which slow traffic. Pinch points are also an effective measure of slowing traffic in the neighborhoods, as well as driver feedback signs so that people know how fast they're traveling. Another consideration is directly in response to the comments that we heard about sight distance at Arming Hall Drive. Residents noted that it is difficult to pull out of that street due to the speed of traffic there and being able to see. We think that it's important to explore some measures to reduce those speeds there, improve the sight distance, and potentially add warning signs in order to inform people of the side street. That could include clearing vegetation, regrading the slope, and increasing the sign size and making it more conspicuous. All of the analysis is included in the draft report and summarized in a recommendations figure, part of which you can see here. We encourage you to take a look at it, visit the project website, read the draft report in its entirety, make comments on it using the study email, and also take the survey. You can see the website below, www.hoosickroadstudy.com. Thank you, and we look forward to hearing what you think.